Hi guys and girls, today we're finding the side of a right angled triangle, and this side just so happens to be the hypotenuse. Okay, now the hypotenuse is special because if you look at your sine equals opposite over hypotenuse, cos equals adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan equals opposite over adjacent. The hypotenuse in all of those is on the bottom. Okay, so this lesson is about doing the side calculation when the hypotenuse is on the bottom. Okay, so what I'll do is give you a little bit of an example first, and then I'll go through how it works. Okay, so your first job, like before, is just to label the sides. So I'm going to do question A, and I'm going to label my sides. I've got my hypotenuse, which is the H, and the opposite, which is the 5, and the adjacent, which is the unmarked. Oh, so I'll get rid of that. Okay, so I've labelled my sides. My next job is to pick my ratio, and I'm going to use the sine ratio because I've got my opposite and hypotenuse. So I go sine 25. 25 is from the angle. We write sine and then our angle equals opposite 5 over h, my hypotenuse. So my next step was just to pick my ratio. Which was the sine ratio. And then I subbed in my numbers, which were the 25 from the angle. I'll put a little degrees there just to be right. 25 from the angle, 5 from the opposite side, and h from the hypotenuse. Okay, now this is probably the new step. What you need to do is flip these two. You need to move the sine 25 to where the hypotenuse is, and the hypotenuse to the sine 25. And I'll explain why later, but we flip those two. And then we go h equals, so I'll give myself a bit more space. H, the hypotenuse, equals 5, because the hypotenuse goes where the sine 25 was, over sine 25, because the sine 25 goes where the h was. Okay, then on our calculator, we go the 5, the number on top, divided by, because a fraction is a divide by, sine 25. Okay, and you may need to go bracket 25 sine, depending on your calculator or if you're using a phone. But I'll take you through that calculator step one by one with what you're using as a calculator. Okay, for me, calculator, okay, for me, this is my calculator, and I'm going to go 5 divided by sine, sorry, it wanted to go sine 5, clear, 5 divided by, open bracket, 25 sine, close bracket, equals 11.83. So my answer is 11.83. And just notice that for mine, I needed to put brackets around the sine 25, and I needed to go 25 sine. As I said, each one's different. We'll work it out. No dramas. Okay, so that's how you do it. You label the sides, opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. You pick the ratio and sub into it. So I wrote sine 25 because I picked the sine ratio. I picked 25 because that was my angle. Then I did 5 the opposite over the hypotenuse because we opposite over hypotenuse. Then I flipped those two, so I moved the h to where the sine 25 was and the sine 25 to where the h was. Then I did my divide by on my calculator, and then I got my answer. Okay, the reason we flipped them is explained by this diagram here. Okay, so that's how you do it. If you're happy with that, that's awesome. If you want to know why that flipping happens, I'll just explain it here. Okay, if I've got a side of 10 and a side of 2, I'm going to have 20 in the middle. Okay, and this is just the area of a rectangle. So 10 by 2 equals 20. Okay, now you may be confused about what this has to do with triangles, but bear with me. Okay, I can write 10 equals 20 over something, and I know that will be 2. Okay, I can also write 2 equals 20 over something, and I know that'll be 10. Okay, the reason is that no matter what numbers you pick, those two and those two are what's called interchangeable. Doesn't matter which one you pick as long as you put the other one in the other spot. Okay, and that's because two numbers times together make a big number, and it doesn't matter if you times one first or the other, it'll always reverse back. Okay, now sine, in our example, sine 25 was just a number, and h was just a number, and 5 was what's divided by. So this rectangle would be like the other one. It would be, say, sine 25 on one side. Then it would be my h on the other, and I know it's got an area of 5. Okay, so if I want to find out what the h is, I could just divide it by the sine 25. Okay, that was a long explanation that went through a little bit of number theory, which I find really interesting. Okay, but if you don't find that interesting, that is more than cool. Just remember the step. Remember that when the number we're trying to find is on the bottom, you flip the sine 25 and the h and just divide. Okay, that's the most important part of this because it's new and different. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. Bye guys and girls.